The unfair matches of the Roman Colosseum, bro. Low-key, we gotta bring it back, bro. Who's with me? Roman Colosseum fights was real fights for real. Like, bro. Prison sentence, all that, bro. Just throw a bunch of people in the arena. Whoever makes it out, don't matter how crazy the crime is, they made it out, bro. They made it out, put Tommy in it. I would really last. I'm thinking. No, that wouldn't even make any sense, actually. I'm not even gonna assume that scenario because I would be king of the land. You get what I mean? Like, it wouldn't make sense for me to assume that. It wouldn't make sense for me to assume that I would automatically win on top, even though most likely I would, because I would be king of the land and I'd be sentencing people to the Roman Colosseum. You'd be a peasant? Oh, okay, so you're just self-rejecting, number one. No, I wouldn't. Alright, let's see this though.
Let's start with the unfair and slowly work our way towards the most brutal matchups on the list.
Okay.
Number 10, blind fighters. Andebadia were criminals who would be forced to fight completely blind. They would be given a straight sword and a helmet for protection. Except the helmet was
Yo, I'm not gonna lie, bro. If I was in the audience, that sounds fun as hell, bro, to watch. Imagine this, yo. Imagine they made a scenario where, like, EDPs, instead of getting sentenced, they have to fight like that. And then after, we're like, oh, yeah, one of you guys is gonna get saved if you win, right? And then after that, the next person, we just lie to them and just threw them in, like, a shark-infested pool or something like that. That would be, like, funny as hell, bro.
practically a curse, since it was completely sealed off, preventing the fighter from seeing or hearing anything. The fight would begin as soon as the fighters were placed within close range of one another, with the most popular strategy being the swing and pray method, which in all honesty, was the only strategy available. Now, the good news is that judges weren't really needed for these fights, since the winners were very easy to identify, as they were the only contestants still breathing. Now, the crazy part is that this spectacle was seen as comedic relief more than anything.
That does
and if you don't think two blind men
That's
fighting
not the worst, bro. Okay, it depends on the crime, because like back then they would, I don't know, sentence you for anything pretty much. It depends on the crime. Like imagine some crazy criminals like murderers or something like that. Instead of getting sentenced, you know, this is what they get. Tommy versus Rye wouldn't even need that competition, because we know who comes out on top.
each other to the death is hilarious. Well, you have a lot to learn about comedy. Now, this might not sound that unfair at first, since both men are equally blind and equipped with the same weapon. But think again, since the winner of the match would typically be rewarded with another match, then another one, and another one, and another one. You get the point. As you can imagine, a winning streak never really lasted for very long. Number 9, naval battles. There was nothing more epic than the naval battles of the Colosseum.
That kind of sounds fun. How did they fit a whole ship though? Like a whole ass ship in a Colosseum. The Colosseum was big, don't get it wrong. But like, there's no way they could fit that big of ships in there. It had to be like little boats or something.
The most unfair, bloody, and expensive. The event would begin by filling the Colosseum with water in around a dozen ships. It's estimated that thousands of prisoners would participate in these events. But let's talk about what made these battles unfair. Now, depending on the starting position of your ship, it could determine your likelihood of survival. Well, at least for a bit longer, as the odds.
Yeah, I was about to say, what do you just get placed in the middle? They gotta, bro. Whoever gets placed in the middle, bro, you could just call it GG's immediately, man. Like, you got no chance, bro.
Survival were almost non-existent to begin with. Ships that started in between two other ships would make for an easy target, easily creating a 1v2 scenario.
Yeah,
prisoners would invade other ships, killing everyone that stood in their way, while others would simply use the more popular strategy we see today, which is of course, running away from all fights and sneaking their way to the final round, where they can hope to steal the win with a single kill.
Nah, that would be me, bro. I'm not gonna lie. That's always the best strategy to do it. Like, whenever you're in a game, you're just a person that avoids everybody until like the final 3 or something like that. Best strat.
The bloody fight would come to an end when there was only one ship or team remaining. As terrible as these battles were, at least they were easy to clean up. The Romans would try their best to remove all the large debris from the water, before the stadium would be flushed like a giant toilet bowl, sending all the remains downstream for another town to deal with. Number 8. Gladiator fights. Gladiator fights were the single most popular matches of the Colosseum, with the good matchups typically being saved for the main event. Now, how can two gladiators fighting each other be unfair, you might ask? Well, for starters, the emperors weren't really interested in fairness, as their primary concern was entertainment. And with over 20 different classes of gladiators to choose from, the styles would be mixed and matched based on entertainment alone. Here are some of the most unfair and popular matchups. Retiarius versus Secutor. Retiarius were equipped with a net, a trident, a dagger, and minimal armor, while the Secutor was equipped with a sword, a large shield, a helmet, and heavy armor.
God damn!
Go ahead, pick one.
I mean, you could still have a chance, though. You never know. If you hit the right okay, not G spot. What's the name for it? Pressure points or something? Like, everybody has certain pressure points where if you hit it, it's done for the other person.
If you chose the Secutor, well, GG's, you're dead. As the Retiarius just had to keep his distance and poke at the Secutor. Or better yet, trap him by throwing his net on him, giving him enough time to emote before poking him to death. Alright, let's try another one. Murmillo versus Thorax. Murmillo were armed with a large rectangular shield, a short sword, a helmet, and a metal or leather sleeve for protection, while the Thorax was equipped with a light shield, a curved sword, a helmet, and a metal or leather
You hit the curvage right with this right here? You could be good.
Sleeve for protection. Go ahead, pick one. If you chose the Murmillo, rip, you're dead, as the Thorax just had to tire out the Murmillo since he was carrying the heavier shield. As you can see, stylistic matchups were a big deal and could easily influence the outcome of a fight. And I know this might come as a shock to some, but not all gladiator fights were to the death. A lot of fights would be called off when a fighter took heavy damage, since good gladiators were very expensive to replace. Number 7. Animal battles. Humans were not the only ones to have
Damn, bro. Yo, humans are cool as shit. You really gotta think about it, bro. You making animals fight each other? Like, actually crazy to think about. I mean, it'd be entertaining as hell. I won't lie, to see animals fight each other. But, like, at the same time, it's like, damn, bro. Like, just let them live life. Let them live life, man.
Unfair matchups inside of the Colosseum, since animals were also treated like criminals. They would be enslaved, pinned against each other, and humiliated. And were such a popular spectacle that at times, thousands of animals would be slaughtered in a given day, which was completely unsustainable, driving many animals
to... They could have at least done it to chickens or something, or pigs, so they could cook it after and eat it. Doing it to random elephants, all types of creatures.
Extinction. Here are some of the most popular and unfair matchups that were commonly seen in the Colosseum. Elephant versus rhino. One of the most famous Colosseum battles.
Wait, who would win this? Because elephants are heavy as shit, right? And they're trying, but they don't have any battling. But rhinos, like, you know, they're hard armored and stuff. Like, they could run at you and with like 1,000 pounds of force. Rhino? Really? Nah, because an elephant could just stomp on you. Like, an elephant could just put all their pressure. Like, if the elephant literally just sat its body on the rhino, it will be done for.
Was when an enraged rhino was pinned against an elephant, with the elephant eventually winning when he decided to cheat by grabbing a spear with its trunk and gouging the rhino's eyes out.
Yo!
Versus tiger. This matchup is basically a robbery, as I'm sure the locals would have bet large amounts of money against the guys from out of town, since they knew that the lion always wins, with there only being one recorded incident of a tiger getting the best of a lion. Elephant versus bull.
Okay, elephant versus bull. I could see the bull winning. Could I? Because bulls are very, very hard backed. Nah, elephant. Elephant's just gonna step on him, bro.
As you can imagine, when an animal has over 10,000 pounds on its opponent, it's not really going to be much of a fight, is it? But just to make matters worse, sometimes the elephant and the bull would be chained together, forcing the action. And no matter how the fight begins...
If only they were born in 2024, they could have done chained together. If only. They were just born in the wrong generation, bro.
It would always end with the bull being turned to soup. Really quickly, here are some of the other animal fights that were very popular. Rhino versus bear. Rhino versus...
Okay, rhino versus bear is comp. Who would win that? Who would win that, bro? Rhino. Okay, rhino versus bull. This is comp. Rhino, though. Rhino, the trunk, bro. Wait, who is winning between... Hold up, does it change now? Hold up. It's gonna change now. Watch now. All right, put in your results. Who's winning? Y'all know I'm winning.
Buffalo, rhino versus elephant.
What does Drake
crocodile versus hippo, tiger versus...
I'm done judging these. Ooh, this would be fun to watch. A tiger versus a bear? But let's be real, the tiger's definitely winning.
Bear versus bull, bear versus wolves, Goro versus scorpion, lion versus bull, lion versus bear, lion versus panther.
Oh, lion versus panther would be comp. Lion versus
chimp.
People are gonna say lion, But the chimp, it's strength to rip off shit. Y'all are saying lying, bro. Okay, be real. Like, chimps are actually pretty strong. Like, they can rip off skin. Like, hard. Yo, it's Tommy. Never mind. I'm just gonna keep playing it.
Lion versus hyenas. Lion versus basically any animal the Romans can get a hold of. Number 6. 1 versus 2. This matchup can be unfair for either side depending on the circumstances. Let me explain. There are 2 scenarios in which this matchup can take shape. 1. A high-level gladiator will take on 2 prisoners simultaneously, and as the prisoners try their best to figure out how to properly hold a sword, they will realize that it's very difficult to do so, since their hands are no longer attached.
Ew! You didn't have to draw the face like that.
Now, the second scenario is a bit more fair. 3 well-trained gladiators were placed inside of the Colosseum. One gladiator would be given heavy armor and a good weapon, while his 2 opponents would receive minimal armor and worse weapons. The duo would need to work together to defeat the better equipped man. But being partnered up is not as easy as you might think, and does come with its own set of challenges. Like knowing whether you should go for the res or attempt to clutch up when your partner inevitably goes.
Okay, but this outfit is just goofy as shit. I'm sorry, bro. Like, bro, if I'm on the battlefield and I see this, I'm just gonna die laughing, and then I'm probably gonna lose.
Down. The last and final way that a gladiator can be outnumbered is during large-scale battles. This one is, of course, purely based on luck alone, and doesn't always mean that you will see a 1v2 matchup, as it just might be a 1v6 depending on how bad your team is. Number 5. Woman versus dwarf. Emperor Domitian.
Come on, bro. What are we doing, man? What are we doing? And you know what's crazy, bro? I knew their mentality. They were like, all right, we're going to get the weakest people out here. This is what they truly thought back then, too. This is what they truly thought. They were like, all right, we're going to get the weakest of the links and just throw them in together and just have them fight.
Introduced the legendary matchup, woman versus dwarf. And I have to admit, this is the only battle on the list where a clear winner was not well documented. But even with the little information we do have, I have a gut feeling that it just wasn't a fair matchup. I'm just not certain for whom. You see, on one hand, you have a fully grown woman who obviously has the reach advantage, while on the other hand, you have a male dwarf who is much stronger and obviously uses magic. How much stronger? Well, I'm not sure. I did, however, stumble upon this forum where a guy asked the same question back in 2000.
Are dwarf men genuinely weaker or stronger physically than non-dwarf women? Okay, I'm trying to think of it, bro. Like, dwarves still got, if anything, they got, it's like how a short guy can, like, usually short guys be super muscular and stuff because it's easier for them because their height or whatever to build muscle together. They don't even need, like, as much weight as somebody that's tall, you get me? Like, I'm really trying to think of it. If you're that small, bro, you could get muscle easily, bro. You're gonna be strong. You're gonna be strong.
11. Now, sadly, people just replied back with even more interesting questions that we will never get the answers to. And of course, naturally, the entire forum devolved into guys just bragging about how many dwarves they can take on at once.
Yeah, right, buddy.
One of the most
Pause.
bizarre things about this matchup was that Emperor Domitian liked to schedule this fight at night, since he preferred this battle when it was illuminated by torchlights.
That will be hard.
In 2010, a female gladiator's remains were found in England. After they were examined, it was concluded that the woman's legs and arm bones were unusually heavy, suggesting that she had strong muscles. You know, I was originally leaning towards the dwarf, but now I really don't see how they could possibly.
Nah, I really be thinking how much stronger they were in the past or whatever. Even like when you look at testosterone, like y'all, bro, if you were 20 years old in the 70s, bro, they look like fucking, like, bro, why do they look so strong? What happened to testosterone, dude? Like, everybody looks so weak. I swear. Not me though. Couldn't relate for real. But like nowadays, bro, goddamn, bro, a high schooler back then would look like a grown man with a mortgage or something. Nowadays, bro, y'all be looking like goddamn, what's his name, Caillou's dad. All right, come on, man. Let's step it up,
4,
guys.
Wild animal hunts. Perhaps one of the most unique spectacles of the Colosseum was the wild animal hunts. Here, the entire Colosseum arena was made to resemble the animal's natural environment. A few men were then brought out to the arena equipped with small shields and weapons. Then for the next few minutes or hours, the arena would be slowly filled with terrifying predators. But if they really wanted to get the crowd on their feet, all the animals would be released at once.
Yo, now we gotta start treating like EDPs and all types of criminals like this. And whoever makes it out, which is gonna be none of them, I think. you know? What if you try to talk to the animal, though, and you know, try to convincingly tell it no? Would it listen?
Sometimes the men who were fighting the lions, bears, and panthers would have been well-trained fighters, while other times they would have been condemned criminals who were just given the death sentence and stood 0 to no chance of winning. Here are some of the animals you could have expected to make an appearance. Lions, tigers, bears, elephants, rhinos, panthers, leopards, hyenas, wolves, boars, bulls, deers.
Okay, deers. Are you kidding me, bro? See, they should have ended off after the boar or whatever. Yeah, no. I'm sorry, I'm seeing that deer, bro, and I'm like pecking on its little stupid nose or whatever. Like, hey, buddy. Hey, buddy.
Ostriches, crocodiles, giraffes, camels, and shiprats. Of course, shiprats
rats
were not
is probably the
invited,
worst thing. That's
but they
actually
showed up
disgusting. I hate
anyways.
rats.
Number 3, Man vs. Beast. Man vs. Beast matches were one-on-one battles and were the second most popular spectacle, only behind gladiator fights. Now, there were basically 2 ways that this matchup would be arranged, with both of them tailored for maximum entertainment for the crowd. The first one was when a professional slave or volunteer fighter known as a bestiarius would face off with a terrifying beast. The animal could be anything from a lion, leopard, tiger, bear, or any other large and powerful creature. These battles would typically end with the animal being defeated, even if the bestiarius took heavy damage. On the other hand, the second matchup was much more bloody and typically ended with the man being torn to pieces. Here, a criminal or prisoner of war would be forced to face off with the animal. With little to no training, it was only a matter of time before the man would become an anatomy lesson. And it definitely didn't help that the animals were starved for long periods of time before they were brought out, making them a lot more angry and aggressive. There was even a single lion that took out over 200 men before it was finally defeated.
Oh, wait. Hold up. I guess you were talking about me. Was that good? What are we thinking? You are the 199th death. So I'm the one before the last one.
Defeated, which is obviously a padded record, since it clearly fought nothing but tomato cans. Oh, I should also mention there is another event that was very popular and is somewhat related, where a criminal was tied to a stake and then a wild animal would be released to eat him alive. You know, you would think that this would be one of those situations where if you've seen it once, then you've seen them all type of deal. But apparently some emperors love to show this one quite often. Number 2, prisoner versus professional gladiator. Easily one of the most unfair matchups of the Colosseum was when prisoners would face off against a professional and seasoned gladiator. The professional gladiator could have been a slave himself with many fights under his belt, or a volunteer gladiator that was part of one of the many gladiatorial schools.
Bro, they would really train like their life for gladiator school just for it to end potentially in their real life. That's actually crazy, bro. They did not care.
Either way, the criminal with 0 to no experience was basically sentenced to death. You see, what could be worse than being invaded, enslaved, and kept inside of a cell for days, just to be given a weapon you have never used, then pushed to the center of the Colosseum floor, only for Spartacus to make his walkout shortly after you.
That's hard.
Number 1, rigged fights. What could be more unfair than rigged matches? Emperor Commodus was definitely the worst offender when it came to rigged matches. The emperor ruled Rome from 180 to 192 AD and was even portrayed by Joaquin Phoenix in the 2000 film Gladiator. Commodus was obsessed with becoming a famous and
It's giving, how'd you know I'm Somalian?
well-respected gladiator. So much so that he would even compete himself. Well, if you could even call it that. An emperor fighting as a gladiator was unheard of. Now, of course, Commodus had the best training in all of Rome and was actually very talented with the sword. But that wouldn't stop him from rigging fights by secretly injuring men just moments before they were brought out to face him. His opponents were injured in a way that could be concealed under their armor, but be devastating enough to hinder their performance or make a limb unusable. Another strategy that the emperor would use was simply
I wonder if they do this on boxing and stuff. They had to have done this eventually. Like purposely hurt somebody or something.
being men with 0 to no experience, making for another easy W. Emperor Commodus would have the longest undefeated record as a gladiator, and it's suspected that he competed hundreds of times. He would also charge the Roman treasury around 25,000 pieces of silver every time he competed.
Damn, that's worth
there are
like
many
$25,
things you could call
sir.
Emperor Commodus, but one thing you can't say is that he ever discriminated, since animals were also injured and thrown in to face him.
Oh, come on,
Apparently,
bro.
he killed hundreds of lions, ostriches, some giraffes, and on one occasion, even killed 3 elephants that were just laying on the floor. Now, as horrible as this all sounds, this was all just a warm-up. And in November of 192 AD, he held the Polybian Games, a festival that lasted around 2 weeks. There, Commodus shot hundreds of animals with arrows and javelins every single day.
Damn, bro, this man on his like Minecraft shit, like he's hunting for food or something. Like, god damn, bro, what are we doing, man?
But if it makes you feel any better, 1 month after the Polybian Games, Commodus would be strangled to death inside of his bathtub by a professional wrestler named Narcissus.
Oh, well, that's good.
Which, for a man, that has to be the most embarrassing way to be found dead. Completely naked inside of a cold tub. You can't even explain your way out of that one.
Thank you, bro, but everybody here right now, just know, all those animals might be dangerous, but I'm more dangerous. Alright, I just ran it back. Was that good, bro? That was pretty good. That was pretty good. Thanks. Laughing. Wow. So we're just spamming my laughing emoji. Alright, well, I guess if you're watching on YouTube, join the Discord, watch the streams.
Subscribe to Tommy NFG.